Welcome, creatures of the night, to the Monster Maniacs podcast. If you get too scared, just keep repeating, it's only a podcast. It's only a podcast.
I heard a scream.
'Cause I'm trapped in a monster movie, yeah.
Slaughter High.
All right, Maniacs, welcome back to yet another episode. I'm your host, Dr. Deimos Strigoi. Along with me, my co-host of death, as always, is...
Killer Wolfson.
So, are you excited about this episode, dude?
Hell yes. Hell freaking yes. This is one of my favorite slashers. This is in like my top 10. I'll say my top 10. Saying top 5. It's close to my top 5, but it's definitely up there. Like, this is an iconic, awesome slasher. Slaughter High, dude.
Released on November 14th, 1986 from Vestron Pictures.
Yep, Vestron, a classic distribution, classic titles. Like they're
Yes, I watched the trailer first just to remind myself. Oh, dude, yeah, it's just classic 80s VHS trailer. So good.
Yep, the way that it should be. The independent, when you think of like slasher, like iconic slasher films like Friday the 13th, like you think of, they're always shot in the woods, right? Like they're always these camp settings,
Right.
where, but this takes it and flips it on its head, because now it's also because it's all shot in one location at a school instead of the woods. So I'm not saying it's like completely crazy radical, but I think it's smart though, because the way that they shot it all at one location, and it's obviously it's an independent, it's going to be a low budget film, so they just were like, we can shoot it all here at the school, at Doddsville, and they came up with the best killer, Marty, Scud, am I getting his name, butchering his name? Marty Scudmore?
Simon
Simon
Scudamore.
Simon Scudamore is the real actor.
As Marty
that's
Ranson.
And Marty Ranson, yeah.
I think that's how you say his name.
Classic nerd. Like the nerd
yes.
is being bullied. I'll bring up right away. I'll just say this, that it reminds me of the Toxic Avenger, because with the Toxic Avenger, you had Melvin the Mop Boy, right? He's getting picked on by the cool kids. Like it was just like these cool kids were all hanging out at the gym, and they torture Melvin and end up pulling a prank on him, where he, as we know, if you haven't seen the great Toxic Avenger, he becomes, he falls into the radioactive sludge and becomes the Toxic Avenger. But with Slaughter High, it was exact opposite. Like he becomes
deformed, and it is acid. So
yeah, he gets hit by, so Marty Rancid, he, just like Melvin, these kids, they pull a prank on Marty, but it just backfires and goes really, like the first prank they pull is a fun, harmless prank. They get him in the shower and they dunk his head in the classic, they dunk his head in the toilet and give him a swirly, the classic.
And they record it too.
Yeah, that wasn't. Yeah, that was really messed up. Maybe it's not so innocent, but
like, not from him, his perspective, he thinks he's going to be getting with he's a cheerleader, and he gets completely naked, and then next thing you know, all these people are staring at him.
So it's why I brought up the Toxic Avengers, because it's the same setup. Like, it's the girl, love interest, the girl that he likes. They're all in on it, and he falls for the prank, but it ends up going totally disastrous for Marty, and ends with the prank. And I honestly, like, the prank was where the main I guess, like, the leader of the pack what was his name? Skip again? Was it another Skip? Or was it
No, I
like,
think
I swear he had like,
it's Skip.
yeah, that's what I thought. It's so Skip pulls a prank on him while he's in the lab, while he's working, doing, making his experiments and stuff. And it ends up what the acid there falls and hits him in the face, and everything's set on fire. And it's just like his like the way this prank, like how it was supposed to go, wasn't going to end with him getting acid in his face, but he ends up getting, totally deformed by the acid, and
Yeah,
they think he's dead.
well, they give him a joint with something in it that makes him sick.
Yeah, that's what I forgot about. That's what, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, so yeah, the whole prank was that they were giving him that fake marijuana, that fake bud, and really, like, that totally backfires. Their prank backfires. And so it wasn't like, so if you think of it like this, the kids, even though they were really bad and they would always mess with Marty, they weren't planning on killing him, like,
No,
ever.
just humiliating him.
Just
That's
humiliating the
kind of what
living
jocks
shit
did
out
in
of him.
the 80s.
Yeah. Like, they weren't setting out to kill him, but they just want to humiliate him so bad. But it ends up backfiring, like I said, and he's well, air quotes, he's killed. But just to, I guess, back it up, I'll say one thing really cool, because starting off talking about, like, the director, and like, so with Slaughter High, I didn't know this. This is a cool fact. Well, this is kind of like, if you've seen the movie, you might recognize the score, but Harry Manfredini, okay? Like, he scored Friday the 13th, the classic Friday the 13th movies. So having him score the film, that was like another, like, that's just perfect for
Well, I
a
mean,
slasher. Come on. I
his
mean,
resume, holy shit. There's this
yeah.
horror after horror movie, House, Swamp Thing.
Mhm.
Dude, he do House 2. Did he do all the Friday the
Done.
13th?
He I don't know that. I won't say that. I don't know that for a fact, but I know
One,
he's done most of them.
Hills Have Eyes
Um,
Part 2. Dang. This guy's good.
yeah, Harry Manfredini is like a classic. He's a legend. He's so having him scoring this, like, okay, that right there seals the deal for me. Like, I'm like, okay, you guys. I mean, obviously, you want to have a great slasher premise and effects, makeup effects, and all that, which they nailed that. Everything, like, they checked off every box with this movie. But yeah, the opening theme song too, I'll mention, like, April Fool's Day. I don't know if that's what it's called, but they say it in the chorus. Like, it's definitely a fun, awesome theme song that keeps coming back. You hear the laughter at the beginning, and then it's like it kicks in with that awesome riff, and it's like it's just a great, awesome theme song. Um, Goes along with the whole theme and everything of April Fool's Day, and Marty getting his revenge on all the kids that messed with him. So they come back to the school for what, a reunion.
I
Um,
believe it's the 10-year, which really I'm still not understanding because, like, as if they didn't know that it was at the old school and none of them knew that the school had been like abandoned.
yeah, that kind of threw me off too. But um I know that they, at the beginning, they were mentioning, they were saying, like, where's everyone at, and like, why, like, had they wouldn't they have known that the school was abandoned? Like,
You would think.
you think they would know that, but they don't really touch on that. And if they do, they don't really say much. But they say why. They basically are saying, well, let's just, the leader of the pack skip is like, oh, let's just, come on, guys, stop being wusses, let's go party.
Yeah,
So they end up partying in
let's
there,
just break into the
break
school.
into the school and party. Yeah. So obviously, who's waiting for them? Besides the janitor. Um,
Right.
So yeah, Marty's gonna get his revenge on them, and some of the best kills. But I mean, we'll get to that. But I will say, other than like I brought up, um, Toxic Avenger, this has like for some reason this reminds me. I got the vibe of Sleepaway Camp, even though it's not. That's a whole nother thing, and this isn't even set on camp grounds or anything, but specifically Sleepaway Camp Part Two, like the sequels with, because of the way that for some reason just I don't know I think it's just the kills and how Marty's just like, even though Marty doesn't say anything, it's I don't know, I'm getting the vibe of that. I don't know why I'm going right to that, but I'm getting that vibe of just like that kind of, it's like it's it, of course it's a slasher, it's going to be dark, but it just has that, I don't know, I can't put it, but I mean it's Sleepaway Camp, um was more, well, at least the first one was a who done it, whereas like this is maybe not a good comparison at all, but I just for some reason it reminds me of the sequels. Maybe I'm just thinking of the kills specifically, because there's that one kill, um where the girl falls into the drain, like into the gutter, I guess, or
Right.
crappy gutter. What I think that's why I'm thinking of Sleepaway Camp Part Two, because um Angela kills that girl in the outhouse, and it's all like, and even though like Marty doesn't stab her in Slaughter High, he like just pushes her. He like just pushes her head down into the sewage water, and she just, I guess, just drowns. But like just that shot, I always love that shot. I mean, because that's something besides like the kills, um, the way that they got those types of angles, those shots of Marty, which by the way, we'll definitely talk about, because I'm going all over the place. But we'll talk about his jester mask. But
Right.
when you
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
him,
Iconic.
iconic. But when you see him hovering above her with that creepy, twisted jester mask on, it's just, I love that shot. It's like,
Oh,
to me that
yeah.
to me that's like Jason Voorhees when he's at the cemetery in Part Six, when he turns around, that classic shot, or like when he's on top of the bus, like just classic moments where like you see that monster, that slasher, like he just has his moment. But there's a lot of scenes like that. Like there's the scene where he also, like the painting, or it's the, I don't know if it's a painting or a poster, but it has Marty in the jester outfit, and you just see his arms come like busting through the painting or whatever it is.
Right. That,
So
yeah.
he's coming out. I love that. I love that. That's so great. Like everything about this movie, like I said earlier, they check off every box. They got the iconic slasher. You it What sets it apart from other slashers is he's wearing that jester mask, and his weapon too. Isn't that, um is it just like a bow or a staff or something? I forget what it is. Is it the it's just like a big pole, like a long, like, I never knew what it was exactly, but it was just like a big long metal rod, and he just like kills people with it.
Yeah. I'm not really sure what that was.
Yeah, that's, now that I'm thinking about it, I really don't know what it was either, but it was just a long piece of metal, like a metal rod. He said rod, but yeah, dude, it's really great because I just remember always seeing like that jester mask and being completely freaked out, like just being creeped out by it. It's just so creepy looking. That's what sets it apart for me, and it's the classic revenge till, like he's getting all the kids back. But I will say we could talk about. I mean, I don't want to like dive right into the kills, but
Well, I mean, we
um,
could talk, but start with who directed it.
yeah, that's kind of where I'm jumping all over the place because I'm so excited. I'm so excited, but like Slaughter High.
Written
So
and
yeah,
directed, three directors.
hmm that's what kind of that's why I was like, I don't know where to start, because I don't really know much about the three directors. I don't know what they really. I didn't really do any real homework on that, so I really don't know what they went off to do or what they had done before. But
Let's see, we
Slaughter
got
Highs,
Mark
what's that?
Ezra, Peter
Okay.
Litton, I believe, and
Mhm.
George Dugdale. Yeah, there's not a whole lot like
I
about them. They
couldn't
haven't really
find,
did it. Their
yeah,
resume is kind of short.
yeah, I couldn't find much about, couldn't find much information like on what they did besides Slaughter High. I think they produced stuff that produced a lot of other things and um other films, but I don't. I think Slaughter High is like probably their main thing that they all work together on. Or of course,
And
like
none
I
of them
said,
ever did any other horror films. And Peter Litton, this is weird. He's noted for creating the computer-generated TV character Max Headroom.
oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Max Headroom's awesome. Yeah, I didn't know. That's pretty awesome.
and as far as George Dugdale, I found nothing.
That's what I mean. Like I didn't find any information on what they did, so I didn't have much to say about them. But I will say, what I will say about them is they put out an awesome, iconic slasher. Like they really, I mean, for its time, like even like when I say low budget, I don't know what it, what it was like, but they definitely, it's a classic. Like, and you could tell it's low budget, independent. I mean, the
Yeah,
way that they shot
$2.1 million
everything.
is what their budget was.
Yeah. So it would like, honestly, like the we can dive into the kills, but and we will, but I think that's where their money went to, was some of the special effects, or the makeup and
Yeah,
department,
especially
because
Marty's face is
yeah, Marty's face was all deformed.
great.
The We'll get into it later, but the bathtub scene,
Oh, that's a great scene.
and I do love how he uses acid on them,
Yes.
like for a couple of the kills. So yeah, that being that, yeah, I don't really know much about the writers and directors, but they made an awesome slasher. And I'd say it's definitely like he's up there with Jason and a lot of the other slashers. Well, let's
Okay,
see.
here's a want some really weird trivia. The original film title for this was April Fool's Day.
Yeah,
And so they had to
all
change
that
it because
coming.
of the other movie that we just reviewed, April Fool's Day.
April Fool's Day, yeah. April Fool's Day. What are you looking at, butthead? Oh wait, wrong
But yeah,
movie.
I don't know. I think Slaughter High, that's a great title.
Slaughter High is one of the best titles too. I mean, okay, Slaughter High, dude, like
It explains
fucking
everything.
brilliant. Yeah, yeah, it just breaks it down. Like you know what's going down. Someone's getting slaughtered up in the high school. Well, yeah, and I'm glad they stuck with that. Well, they had to, because April Fool's Day. I mean, plus like Slaughter High is like the better title. Come on. But yeah, the music just kind of go over the place. But I really I love that soundtrack, that opening theme too, man. When I hear that, I get so excited. I'm I'm ready for it. But like, and the shots that I was mentioning of Marty hovering over the girl, and when she falls in the sewer. But there was another one. I think it's when he's like looking through the, yeah, he's inside the school and he's like looking through the glass door. He's looking at one of the other characters, and I think it's the first time you see him, maybe. But it's just like, it just goes back to, like I'm saying, like that mask. They could have gone with any other mask, but it wouldn't have been the same. Like that, having that jester mask, it was just so iconic. Now it's Marty, and it's perfect for, also for pranks, if you think about it, because the jester for April Fool's Day, and
Right.
because the jester, he was always that playful prankster, so it goes perfect with it, and that's why I always thought like this could definitely have spawned sequels. Man, they could have kept going with this, even even how they ended the movie, I don't care. They could have kept going with Marty. Um, it's just such a great setup for a slasher, man. You had the classic origin story. It was done all in. You didn't have to like go so far into in depth with it. Like you have to go because it's just the classic, like we said earlier. Like the nerd gets bullied, comes back, and gets his revenge. And the way that he kills them is so awesome. Like I don't know if you just want to dive right into that because
Sure,
I'm
let's
just
start with the very first kill, which is
yeah
one of the best, where they're all, I mean, he invites them back. They don't know what's going on. First, they see their lockers, and then
yeah
they're a little freaked out. But then
hmm
they decide, hey, let's just stay, let's just stay and drink and eat the food. And so I can't remember. Oh, it's Ted, I believe the character's name. Chugs a beer, right? Isn't that the
yeah
first kill?
yeah. I don't remember his name once again.
It's
Like,
Ted.
but I that was one of my favorite kills.
Yeah,
What
that's
I
mine
love
too.
about that is it's acid in the beer, and you
Right.
just see his guts just like rip right out of him, and he's just like, oh, and like that's the first kill, and it's just so abrupt. Like I love that so much because it's just like, well, sorry, back it up. Actually, the janitor was the first kill, right? Um, but he does get a good kill. That kill was pretty awesome too. He just Am I right about that? I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. The janitor was the first one, but either way, like they Marty just picks him up, doesn't he? Just like impale him on like the
Yeah,
hanger on the door or something like
and
that.
then he basically like crucifies him by nails his hand to the
Crucifies
door.
him. He
Like, what the hell,
crucifies
dude?
him.
Like
Cause
the
that was what
janitor didn't do anything to you?
I know, dude. I don't know if the janitor ever messed with him and they just didn't mess. I don't think so. They don't say anything about that, but no, Marty was just like, you're in my way, man. Like, just get out of here. And like poor I'm gonna call him Willie because I don't remember what his name, the janitor Willie or whatever. But yeah, he just gets crucified. And yeah, but then I mean, like, even though that was the first kill, which is pretty brutal, um that that second, the next kill, in the uh first one, well, I guess with the kids at least, the guy Ted, he drinks the beer and it's acid, like, and you just see all of his guts coming out. Like I was
And
just was like,
it looks
holy
great.
shit,
Those special effects they
yeah,
use on that are great.
that's what I'm saying. I love how great the effects are, and for low budget film, like the effects shine. Like that's one of my favorites right there.
Like
Um,
I was trying to find who did those effects. I can't find the person's
yeah,
name, but they did a great job.
once again, I couldn't find much information on a lot of things like for this film. But yeah, I would just say like I think it's probably because it was low budget and they just worked with whoever they had. And whoever did the effects, like kudos, man. Hats off to you. They did such a great job. Even stop motion in this, with the
Oh,
kill.
yes.
The next one, I think it's the next kill, the bathtub. The girl gets acid all over. It's once again acid.
Yes, because
That's
well, when his stomach explodes, it shoots blood like over all over her.
yeah, yeah.
So she goes up to take a bath.
It's just it's like also not to like go back, but like to reference April Fool's Day. It's they start out doing little fun pranks on each other, like Skip, like the leader of the pack is the prankster, but they're getting back on him and doing pranks on him, like fun little pranks. They pour the water down his pants,
Right. Yeah,
stuff
that's a good
stuff like
prank.
that.
That
Yeah,
was
so
one
like
like that's so
uh,
old. How did he fall for that?
I know, and like and he's supposed to be the leader, like the main prankster, but yeah, it's just like I just loved how like it's just like they're just having fun. It's the classic like kid. It went back to them in high school, like they're just partying, having fun, and then obviously like the abrupt death, the Ted drinks the acid there,
Right.
And but that next kill though was also one of my favorites. Is the girl in the she's going to take a bath and bubble bath, and then all of a sudden acid starts coming out of the faucet, and like she's like the way that she's killed is like she's just fried. She's like the acid just melts her, and how that they did that effect with her. They show her face, like you just see her skull, and it's like it just melts, oozes away, kind of like toxic sludge, like
Yeah,
Jason from Jason
or
Takes Manhattan. Remember at the
the
end?
effects kind of remind me of Evil Dead.
Or Evil Dead. Yeah, actually more so Evil Dead because I had mentioned stop motion. It was definitely they did some I think it was stop motion claymation that they did because it just looked like I mean I'm not 100% sure, but from seeing a lot of claymation stop motion stuff, that's what it looked like. And I just love that scene. I was like, oh, that is so epic. That was one of the coolest scenes. Honestly, might be at the top for me for favorite kills, but
Actually, those
there's
first
a lot
two
of
are
them.
to me are the best kills of the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
movie.
That's kind of where I stand too as well. I like they're it's just the way they were executed and the effects, like the makeup, like I said, just awesome, so rad. Um, Keep thinking of the other kills, they just kind of don't measure. They don't like you know what I mean. It's not as not as great because
Well,
even like okay,
I was gonna say we even have Job when he's killed by the lawnmower.
yeah,
He
yeah.
doesn't like. I'm still like. Does it crush him? Because if the blade's chopped, then there'd be pieces like everywhere.
Yeah, it's like I wasn't sure what was gonna happen. I thought, yeah, he was gonna get stuck in it, and they were just gonna show like,
His
maybe his
guts
head
going
get,
everywhere.
yeah, maybe blood and everything, because where it fell on him, like, was it like on his abdomen or
That's
on
that's
his
what it
chest?
looked like.
Yeah, I
Blade
was hoping for like a head decapitation. That's what I thought was gonna
that
happen.
would have been good
But
too.
yeah,
It just
but
sprays
like,
blood all over his face.
yeah, but I mean, like, you know what? There was the couple have like getting on and they get electrocuted. That was kind of fun. It wasn't as classic as the other first two, but um, the one I would say the weakest kill for me like was the guy just gets in the car and he just gets stabbed. Like he gets stabbed from like the back or something. Like yeah, Marty's
Yeah,
like in the back seat and he
yeah,
stabs
because
him.
and they don't even realize he's dead. They think he's because he escapes and then jumps in the car to go get help.
Yeah, I just thought that was kind of like they were just running out of ideas or just things to do to kill off the characters. So they were just like, all right, we're gonna have you run into this car, and then Marty's gonna be in the back seat. Which it is what it is. But I mean, like, I think if anything, like we're just talking about the mechanic fixing the car. I like they probably could have done more with that. Like they could have had his head get cut off or shown like his arm or something or leg just fly. I don't know, something. I mean, and that could have been for even a low budget film because like I make films. You could just take a body part, just show like a bunch of blood and guts flying.
Right. Or what's
But
worse for me was the one, I think her name is Susan. She gets there kind of late and she goes in and he just grabs her and then you never see her again. She's just dead.
you know what? I always forget about her death. Yeah, I always forget about her
Because it's
because
off screen, you don't see anything.
yeah, actually, you know what? Take it back. That's the weakest one. It's it's like another we were talking about Maniac Cop. It's another Maniac Cop at the end
Right.
when you say it's an off screen and April Fool's Day. It's all those off screen kills. It's like I I'm not a fan of off screen kills. I mean, like people are like, oh well, like you can be creative that you can use your imagination. I'm like no, dude, I want to see what
Well,
happened.
an aftermath, like what happened to her?
Yeah,
You don't even know if
exactly.
she is dead. You just assume she's dead because you never see her again.
Right. It would work if like they showed the aftermath, like you said, like maybe show her like you see her head rolling, like her decapitated head, or like something, anything.
Although
But
I
like,
say next to best has to be Skip getting the axe to the face.
yeah, I was gonna bring that up. I love that one too. I don't think it's as iconic as the first two, but it's still that's a good one. It reminds me of, it's reminiscent to Crispin Glover in Final Chapter. Remember,
Right.
he gets Jason like axe right to the face, like.
But again, though, it looks great.
It does. That's why I'm like I praise the makeup
It's
artist
like you
that
go
worked
through
on
that, and then a lawnmower falls on a dude and does not chop his guts up. I wanted to see some guts
I
chopped.
know, I know. Like they honestly, because you can do guts. I've done guts in my films, and most of the time, like even in my first feature film, like whatever's we're what 4 or 5 episodes in, about time I promote it. That shit is very much. I mean, I have all of those ingredients that you would want, and even though it's not a slasher, it's more dark comedy. But I still have a scene where you see guts coming out of someone's stomach, and I feel like that's something you want to milk. That's your money shot. So like that's something that I was like, I want that. I want to milk that. So we made that awesome, even though it's a low budget film. We still made it look as gory and awesome as we could with what we had, the resources of what we had. But once again, goes to the makeup artist. Like hats off to like whoever did their makeup and effects, because like it was legit. Too legit to quit. Like it was just.
It's like first don't forget. First he gets hung, and somehow survives.
Yeah. I thought that's how he was killed, and I forgot that. Yeah, he.
Well, isn't in like the poster art or something? There's a character. There's a picture of a character hanging. So I assume, when he gets hung, I'm like, oh, okay, he's dead.
Right. It's like the hangman, the classic hangman. You think he's dead, then he's not. But
and then you only get killed by your friend.
Right. He's also like Marty. Like I said, I'll reference like his main weapon like is that pole that I don't even know. I
think it's since they're jocks, right? Wouldn't it be would it be a javelin?
That's what I was thinking earlier, a javelin. That makes more sense because of high school, and they have.
I mean, I was like, it can't be. I mean, it might be, but what high school team has a javelin thrower? That seems kind of weird. But I mean, I don't know what else it could be.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Like either it's a javelin or it's just a random like. I was thinking also could have been like a spare, but why would you have a spare like at a high school? Like,
right.
I don't know. And why would a jester be using it? But hey, it's Slaughter High, dude. He just was like probably just grabbing whatever weapon was available, whatever, like his main weapon, I'll say, was acid, which makes more sense because like he was killed, deformed by the acid.
Mutilated
By acid. Yeah, I mean, like such an awesome, just all around. Like I said, it's like it's got the whole package. Like it's got everything. Iconic slasher. The mask is awesome. The setup is great. Like the revenge till, him getting all the kids back. The kills are solid. But I guess that's our favorite kills, huh? So like the first
we're gonna have to stop right there and take a little commercial break, and we will come back and complete our talk of Slaughter High.
See you soon.
Marty Ranson was the dork of Doddsville High.
You get undressed in there.
His classmates laughed at him.
Are you ready?
Here's Marty.
Where's the fish?
They tormented him.
Where's the fish?
And then they went too far. Now, 5 years later, Marty's throwing a little party.
Lights on.
A class reunion.
Come on, you guys, let's party.
They say he still roams the nut house, ever hopeful of that chance to escape, so he can take his evil revenge out on us all.
And he's making sure everyone has the time of their life.
I feel sick!
He's created a romantic atmosphere for rekindling old flames. And a nice place to just hang around. Marty hasn't forgotten a thing. He's giving them a blast from the past they'll never forget. Marty Ranson is still a dork, but tonight he's getting even. Vestron Pictures presents Slaughter High.
Don't enjoy your dirty tricks.
All right, and we're back.
What's up, Monster Maniacs?
So, like we were saying, great kills.
Yeah,
Kind of a weird ending, don't you think?
yeah, I mean, if you want to address that, yeah, we can talk about it. I will say real quick before we dive into that, the kill count, because we didn't talk about that. The kill count is 13.
Not bad.
Yeah, I love that number. Perfect for Slaughter High. And it's a good count considering like there was only like what 5 or 6 I think of the main characters, something like that.
Well,
Right.
this has to be one of the few where no one survives.
Yep, nobody. Like,
and the killer wins, basically.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of now we can dive into that. Yeah. So the killer. Okay. So what's weird about this is like, and I'm probably gonna, because I've seen so many like slashers. They've had twist endings for a lot of these slashers. So, but wasn't he like in the hospital? Like they had him all, he was all bandaged up, like, and there was that twist where he at the very end. This was at the very end. He, the doctor or somebody else comes in, and they're like,
the
Marty,
nurse
you
is
okay?
fixing.
The
Yeah, the nurse is
nurse?
fixing his bandages because he just had a skin graft.
Right. And it was actually, they thought he was the nurse, but it was Marty. And Marty's the nurse, and he turns around and he has like a syringe or something. I
Yeah,
don't know.
which is
So,
another great kill when he stabbed the doctor in the
yeah.
in the eye. That looked too real.
Yeah. So like, but back it up that was the official ending, but that ending, the first like ending, I guess you want to call it, man, like, talk about like, you think, okay, Marty got his revenge, but then what the hell, he didn't, because all of them come back as zombies, and they're all coming to get you, Barbara. They're all
Which
coming
made
to
me think,
get him.
confused me. Like, so did any of that actually happen, or is that him hallucinating in the mental facility?
On acid, on drugs. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I was like really confused. Like, was that all in his mind? Or not clear? They kind of leave it open.
I don't know. It could go it could go both ways. You're right. It could go that way. I want to say no, because I mean, I don't really have any way of backing my my rebuttal or whatever. I would just say I think what happened was he did get his revenge and he killed all the kids, and maybe he started hallucinating and seeing them coming after him, and then he ends up back in the hospital. But then I don't know. Like, I kind of, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of leaning more towards what you're saying, because I could see him totally, like, maybe he could have even gone into like a coma, or or just hallucinated, like, all of that. All of that just was all made up in his head.
And then he's about to escape and then go make all that happen.
Yeah. Maybe then it does happen.
Right.
After. So like, that's why I'm saying like it could go either way. But I do like how there's it's like a twist on a twist, It's like we're playing Twister, and Marty shows up and pour some acid on me. But like, dude, it's that's how these 80s slashers are. That's why I love them, because they're so like fun and so creative that way. They just were like, hey, let's do this. Let's add another twist at the end there where you think it's over, and you're like, wait a minute, but that happened. Like, so what? We don't care. Now we're totally gonna flip you upside on your head and spin you around. Like, because that's kind of what it felt like, because I was like, wait, what? Okay, so I like how they did the twist of that Marty thought he got his revenge and the zombies are coming at him. So maybe that's his way of his mind having a bad nightmare and just, finally snapping. It's already snapped, but I mean, like, that's his way of exacting his revenge on them.
Right.
And like he's so messed up from the trauma of them pulling that prank on him so many years ago that it stayed with him, and it comes back and haunts him, and then he snaps. And
I mean,
they see him as the nurse in the nurse
having
outfit.
acid dumped in your face and almost burning alive, that kind of would cause trauma to begin with.
That would cause more than just mental trauma, man.
Right, there's some PTSD right there.
I mean, that's gonna stay with you the rest of your life, and like he's belonged in the mental asylum from there, because that kind of trauma would make you go schizoid. It would make you go batshit.
I like we did that.
Yeah, see how I did that? Wait, what are we talking about? Yeah, Slaughter High, dude. Man, it's like I said, it's at the top. But before we forget, because we're kind of going all over the place, would you consider this an iconic slasher?
Definitely memorable. I mean, that mask.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right on the poster, or in my case, on the front of my Arrow DVD.
Yeah.
And that's why I bought it. It's
Yeah,
one.
Yeah.
You saw that in the 80s in the video store. You're gonna grab that just for that poster.
Hell yeah. That's one of the main things that a lot of us horror freaks, we always that's one of the first things that we notice is the box art, like the cover art on these VHS. And Slaughter High had the best, hands down. It's at the top. One of the best poster art, VHS, cover art, with, like in the iconic, the skull face.
Yes.
That you always see, like in 80s in any of these poster art, like, and what is it, like a skull face with him at Slaughter High at the school. And like I've had this, I had the T-shirt. I think I still have it, but it was the classic VHS box art.
Well, the Arrow video is basically of him standing over the girl in the cesspit.
Yeah, that's the Arrow.
Great.
That's the Arrow. But the original box art VHS is the. Now I'm looking at it right now.
This almost like
he's wearing sunglasses and he has
graduation hat,
the graduation cap on, and it says Marty majored in cutting classmates, and he's holding an apple. He's wearing like a sweater and a scarf, but it's like just, and even in the sunglasses you can see.
Oh yeah,
you can see the girl or somebody. Wait, who is it?
He looks a lot like the Crypt Keeper.
I thought he was looking at one of the victims or something. But anyways, yeah, no, it's like the classic, Crypt Keeper. You could say that. This is a skull, like a skeleton dude, and he's holding the apple and Slaughter High. But like, yeah, that was one of that, and oh man, I can name a bunch of them. There's a lot of classic VHS box art that I was like, oh my god, I have to check this out.
And they always have great taglines, like you said.
Yeah,
majored in cutting classmates. That's just great. That's classic.
Yeah. When for my first film, 8-Bit Bloodbath, which was a slasher comedy, like it was a tribute to 8-Bit, gaming and Friday the 13th. I had to have a tagline too on my poster, on the, and it said, I'm probably gonna butcher it, but it was like the game everyone's dying to play. And like I was like, yeah, you need like that. I love those classic, those classic one-liners and things that they do. Like that's another great thing about like these slashers. Like they always had those taglines and just those awesome one-liners. But yeah, I consider it an iconic slasher. I consider Marty up there like with Jason, and he might not be, you know, I know it's not like it was never, there was never any sequels, or it wasn't a franchise, but I believe it definitely could have gone on to have sequels.
It should
And
have,
yeah, it should have, like it could
but it
definitely,
wasn't really given a chance.
yeah, that's what
I
happens
mean,
with a lot of these horror movies and slashers.
well, like I said earlier, it had
Yeah,
originally been called April Fool's Day, so they had to change the title. And then
yeah,
I read it opened in like less than 40 screens. So I
yeah,
mean, they didn't even show it,
that sucks.
and it
It's
earned
like
less than $100,000 on a $2 million budget.
yeah, it didn't get the attention. It didn't. They didn't. Yeah, it wasn't well received. Like no one saw it. There wasn't enough. There wasn't enough people watching it to take off. I mean, I just don't understand. Like, I mean, I understand. I get that aspect of it, but I mean, if you're like, I guess at the time there just wasn't, like you said, like earlier, like it wasn't a mainstream. So it wasn't something that they were like, we could see this selling, like this is something we can market or whatever.
And this really had no big name stars, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like I don't really know any of the actors, or um I I think at least one of the actors was in a few other horror movies in the 80s. And I think it was the Skip character, but I might be wrong about that. He
Well,
looks
I believe
familiar.
when the act, what's her name? I'm looking. Oh, Caroline Monroe.
Yeah.
She
Caroline
was in.
Monroe. What was she? Dude, her name is so familiar. I know she was in something nice.
She
It's gonna drop.
played Carol Manning. That's her character's name. But she has been in, dude, so many. She goes all the way back to Dr. Phoebes Rise Again, Dracula
Wow.
AD, The Spy Who Loved Me, Maniac. She was in Maniac.
She was
That's
a
what
maniac.
I was thinking of. Don't
Okay.
Open Till Christmas.
Nice.
Yeah, she's been
Yeah,
a lot.
I knew she was. I knew there was somebody in this film that was, that had been in a lot of other horror films. Once again, like I didn't get a lot of information. Sorry, I didn't do my homework. But like and even then, when I did look them up, like I didn't really see a lot of the actors didn't really do too many other films that were, besides
Oh,
like Carolyn Monroe.
yeah, the rest of them, like one guy did, I think I remember, but just a bunch of animated, and another guy was only in that and Highlander, and that was his only two acting credits. So,
Oh, well, I love Highlander.
I mean,
There
good
can only be
credits,
one.
but he didn't really do anything else.
Yeah. Um, but they were all in a really awesome movie, an awesome slasher called Slaughter High.
Yes.
Like, so at least they, like in Slaughter High, like I said, it's definitely up there for me, man. Even if it wasn't successful in the box office, and even if like, it didn't go off to make sequels, I consider it an iconic slasher. It's got all the elements of an iconic slasher. And it's a great, even though like you could say a lot of those slashers back, like they jumped on the bandwagon or whatever, blah blah blah. I don't think Slaughter High is one of them, because they had an original character, Marty. I mean, yeah, and even though, like I said, like it was very reminiscent to Toxic Avenger, um that doesn't, it's still, I mean, that the iconic, using that mask is what sets it apart, that jester mask. um and also just the kills, like the makeup effects, the gore, the kills were creative. Him using acid was really clever, way of getting back at them, and the way that they did it, like, so I don't know, I just love everything about this. This is definitely in my top 10 favorite slashers. I should definitely make a list, like do a video on that. But yeah, Slaughter High I consider is definitely up there.
Well, unfortunately, no one else thinks the way we do because it had a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, those people don't know shit.
Unfortunately, well, I mean, it's only 5 reviews, so we need to get on there and somehow figure out how we can get that score up.
I think so. That's pathetic. 0? Are you serious?
Yes.
That's terrible.
And only a 34% audience.
I won't bring up any names of other slashers that I think are garbage, but there are Slaughter High slaughters a
The competition.
decent the competition. Yeah, it slaughters. There's so many like piss poor wannabe slashers out there, or just movies that they think that they are making something original or something great, and they're always most of the time just jump on the bandwagon, like, nothing cutting edge, nothing nothing worthwhile or memorable. Whereas like Marty and like Slaughter High is just like, I think it's perfect.
Yeah, I'd like
But
to know how like the VHS sales or the DVD sales have gone to if it's come. 'Cause I couldn't find anything if it's considered like a cult classic today. I think it is.
100%, I say it is. Anyone else can suck it. No, sorry. No, I mean, I consider it a cult. Um, it has cult status. It's definitely
And it looks like the DVD I have looks great. It looks filmatic, like I'm watching it at a theater. It looks great.
Yeah, I mean, like, I just think it has like all the ingredients, like,
And
to
it
me, like,
holds up. That's the most important part. A movie
right,
slasher from the 80s that holds up today.
it holds up. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't agree with me. But like, I don't even want to like name movies because then everyone's so opinionated and everyone likes what they like.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just think like, I think Marty, like, I think he's up there with like the greats, like Michael Myers, Jason, Freddy. Like, I think he is. I mean, even if he's not accepted by everyone and like he's got, you know, the box office, doesn't have the numbers or whatever. I don't care about that, man. I think like the story's there, and like you said, it holds up. Like, it really does, and it's a fun movie. It's the classic '80s like, you know style movie where everyone's having fun and partying, and it also has the element of the classic. The nerd gets his revenge.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
if you showed it at a film theater, like some kind of festival today, it would do good.
oh hell yeah! It just didn't do well at the time because they frowned upon slashers back when these movies were coming out. Like, for people just were more into, not like like the true horror fans ate it up. You know what I mean? We loved it,
Right.
but everyone else, like all the critics, mostly like people that would write up on it, they would say it's like trash. They would
Oh,
say it's
yeah, like
awful.
Siskel and Ebert just shit all over slashers in any horror movie at that time.
They don't know shit.
They're degrading, they're barbaric, they're evil, like
Yeah,
they're dumbing down society by having all these bloody movies. It's
they've trashed a lot
it's
of like great films, actually.
entertainment, man. It's just
Yeah,
fun, cheesy. Yeah,
that's it.
80s were cheesy, but they're fun.
You just hit it the nail on the coffin there, man. That's what it's all about, man. Like, that's what we loved about these slashers, is that it had all those elements of fun. You had, I mean, horror films are supposed to be fun. You're supposed to it's the thrill of it and the escape. You one for an hour or two, you get to escape and watch something where you're going on a roller coaster ride and you don't know what's going to happen next. Someone is were they gonna end up in an acid bath? You know what I mean? Like, just awesome characters, and having an iconic villain.
And like I said, great. I love the special effects in this. I don't care what it says.
That's what I mean. Like the special effects were superb.
For $2 million budget? Are you kidding me? It's
great. That's what I'm saying. Like we didn't have anywhere close to that kind of money for any of my films, and to do what we did, but that's what you have to do. You have to use your resources, and it's like it's movie magic, but it's also just being creative, having fun, being creative, and it's just it's horror films, man, slashers. That's how true independent cinema right there, making a fun slasher with a small, I consider a big budget, but that was a small budget by film, for people that are independent filmmakers. I mean, like having $1 million, $2 million, that's nice. Like even like for today's standards, but what they did for that time period, like in the mid '80s, man, late '80s, man.
Yeah, at that time it was hard to stand out for the pack because it was saturated with tons of horror movies and slashers.
You already had the Kings were already established. You had Freddy, Jason. I mean,
how do you compete with those big juggernauts at that point?
Exactly, and it being an independent film. Well, that's the thing too, is that all those movies were independent films, and they didn't know the impact it was gonna, if it was gonna take off or just be a dud. It wasn't gonna be a success. Like Friday the 13th.
The production company was called Spectacular Trading International. Who the hell is that? Like
what? Spectacular Trade? What? That's
very independent. I never even heard of him.
Yeah, that's different, but that's independent for you. I mean, mine's Just Buried Entertainment, so you know what I mean. Like, you're independent, you can do whatever. I mean, of course, you need the money though, but yeah, I think like even for the budget they had, like they had the right people. They made it work, especially like you said, the special effects, the makeup artists, like that was.
I killed it.
Like, oh man, literally.
Unintended.
Like, yeah. I mean, that's a big part. That's a huge part of it, man. Like you have to have, like I said, the right people. You have having a kick-ass, cast and a awesome makeup artist. And you have the story, and even though the story had been done before, like it's a classic revenge tale, it doesn't matter because of the way that they did it, and they made Marty an icon. I think, like that's for loving, horror films since, I can remember, like being desensitized by these films and then having an appreciation, for them, but seeing them like Frankenstein, like Jaws, you know what I mean? Like it's that iconic monster, that iconic. So it doesn't really, it's just one of those things where, yeah, I consider him up there
as definitely a memorable killer.
Yeah, and Slaughter High, I give it 5 axes to the head, 5 acid baths.
Yeah, I'll give it 5 cans of acid beer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely one of the more creative slashers too, as far as the kills go. But yeah, to end it, I would say if you guys haven't seen it, go out, buy that you were just talking about, the Arrowhead, the Blu-ray, because it's epic. It's awesome.
Well, apparently, let's see, Vestron has released a new Blu-ray.
Yeah, I think I did hear about that. Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to. I need to find that now.
Yeah, definitely. Wonder if that has any other goodies. We might have to have a part 2, even though I don't know if we're ever going to do that. But because, like, I mean, we could just talk more about Slaughter High, because I could talk Slaughter High all night. Awesome movie. Horror Maniacs, Monster Maniacs. Check it out.
Yep. See you next time, ghouls.
Stay cool, girls. Yeah.
And just a reminder, our theme song is Monster Movie by the Tombtones, and that is courtesy of Batcave Records. That is from their album Pumpkin Guts. So if you liked it, head on over to Bandcamp and pick it up. And here it is in its entirety.